What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Credit, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. That being said, let's get into it. I did a post a couple days ago talking about Gervonta Davis versus Naoya Inoue, and I asked the question because when Turkey first came into boxing, he was naming all of these fights he wanted to make, all of these big fights, these fights that people thought was fantasy fights. And one of those fights we've just witnessed last week, Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. Another one of those fights that Turkey proposed to fans was Gervonta Davis versus Inoue. And Turkey was trying to get Gervonta to fight Devin Haney, but Gervonta said he wanted all this Ferrari and all types of stuff. So Turkey hasn't been successful in bringing Gervonta over to the team. As of yet, Gervonta seems comfortable. He's now fighting the likes of Jake Paul, making money outside of boxing. When I say outside of boxing, outside of real boxing, he's still boxing but making money with YouTubers. Anyway, that being said, moving forward, Naoya Inoue, I just seen this post, and I don't understand Inoue because he speaks Japanese or whatever. But if this post is translated correctly, and if it's accurate, this is what Inoue had to say, and I'll read what he had to say and speak on it. They said this is from Inoue. It says, "I respect Davis. He's a great champion, very powerful, but I want him to come to Japan and fight me here." Similar to Bud Crawford when he called out Canelo Alvarez. Gervonta never called out Inoue. People asked him about Inoue. He said he'll fight him. But he never thought that fight was reality. Now, if this statement right here from Inoue is true, Inoue is daring to be great. He wants to be the face of boxing. He wants to be pound for pound number one. He believes a win over Gervonta makes him pound for pound number one. Me personally, I disagree because Gervonta doesn't have all the accolades similar to a Canelo Alvarez. I mean, it probably puts him at maybe number two, but it's really hard because of what Usyk has done. I don't know, bro. It's very difficult when you sit down and see who's the best fighter in the world. But we know who's number one for sure, and that's Bud Crawford because of what he just did. Not just that, being the first man to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes and being a 5-weight world champion. It's like he's putting up numbers that it's like hard to compete with. He's collect so many belts, it's like hard to like emulate. So guys, what do you think? Did Naoya Inoue really say this stuff? Do he really want to fight Tank Davis? And how do you see that fight playing out? Me personally, I give Inoue a good chance. Guys, I favor the boxer every time, right? But not just me saying I favor the boxer every time. Is styles make fights. Inoue versus Tank, guys. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Inoue, it's the same. He might be the same height as Tank, if not a little taller. They're the same height, or Inoue might be taller, similar to Bud versus Canelo. But it's just that Inoue been in these little weight classes. Gervonta his lowest weight class was at what? I think he was as low as 130, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he was at 126. I know he was at 130, though. He might have been at 126, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But I know he was at 130 for sure. No, I think he was at 130 only. So he's been in the low weight classes too, kind of similar to Canelo, man. These fights are crazy. But he hasn't accomplished anything close to what Canelo has accomplished. So that's the only big difference right there. And he hasn't really been in the ring with anybody of notoriety for us to say, hey, his resume is extremely extensive. He hasn't really done that. He's been in the ring with bigger names than the guys Inoue's been fighting him, because a lot of people don't know the guys in those little weight classes. But let me get back to my thoughts on the fight. Like I said, I always favor the boxer and the guy with the higher IQ. In this case, Inoue is the better fighter. With the higher IQ, he's definitely more skilled than Gervonta Davis. I won't take that away from him. But we've seen Inoue. I don't want to sound like what people were saying about Bud, but I'm just giving y'all my thoughts. Like I said, I give Inoue a great chance. I'm not going to flat out say he's going to beat Tank. I'm not going to say that right now. I have to do my film study, but like I said, I give him a great chance of pulling it off. And the reason why I give him a great chance, because like Canelo, Tank fights in spurts. But those spurts might be enough to get to Inoue. But Inoue is a high volume puncher similar to Bud Crawford. This is a tricky situation, bruh. I can see it right now, Inoue beating Tank. I ain't gonna lie, I can honestly see it, bro. If Tank is losing to freaking Lamont Roach, why can't he lose to Inoue? The question is, can Inoue take his power? Inoue defense will have to be superb against Gervonta Davis, because he can outclass Gervonta. He just doesn't. He just can't get hit. That's the only problem. He just can't get hit, because if he gets hit, then yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, guys, I see Inoue winning the fight. I ain't gonna lie to you. I see him winning the fight. He's a more skillful fighter. If he doesn't get knocked out, he should win the fight on points, because he's going to be the high volume. He's going to be a much higher volume puncher than Tank. He's going to bring the fight to Tank. It's up to Tank to see what he's going to do, because he fights in spurts.